Welcome to this explainer. You know, when most people hear the word astrology, they immediately picture vague predictions or mystical generalizations in the back of a magazine. But today we're talking about the exact opposite. We're diving into the deeply mathematical, highly structured astronomical foundations that construct ancient horoscopes. We're going to see exactly how ancient scholars mapped the macrocosms down to a precise mathematical canvas of human life.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover astronomical foundations, translating the 12 houses, the mathematical house groups, calculating planetary aspects, and finally, constructing the complete horoscope. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, Astronomical Foundations, Mapping the Heavens.
To really grasp the 12 houses of a horoscope, we need to completely shift our perspective. Imagine the sky not just as a random scattering of stars, but as a vast, highly quantifiable astronomical grid. Our guide for this is the venerable Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. And let me tell you, this is definitely not a book of poetry. It's a foundational, highly systematic manual packed with rigid rules, formulas, and precise calculations for reading the heavens. The whole system kicks off with one absolutely crucial number: 27. In this ancient mathematical blueprint, the visible zodiac is divided up into exactly 27 distinct asterisms, or nakshatras. Think of this as the base layer of our astronomical grid, neatly slicing the 360 degrees of the sky into 27 equal chunks.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. How do we compress that grand 27-part zodiac? Well, the area of those 27 asterisms is mapped down into exactly 12 equal spatial sectors. We call these 12 sectors rashis, or signs. And this entire sequence always, without fail, kicks off from the sign of Aries.
The ancient text is super explicit about this division. Looking at verses 4 through 6, it translates directly. The said zodiac comprises of 27 asterisms. The same area is divided in 12 parts equal to 12 rasis. It then goes on to explain that the specific sign rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment of birth is mathematically calculated as the lagna, or the ascendant. That rising degree literally becomes the anchor for everything else.
Moving on to Section 2, translating the 12 houses, the human map.
So, how exactly do these 12 astronomical divisions connect to us down here on Earth? It's genuinely fascinating how systematically the text breaks down human existence. Translating verses 31 through 38, we get the first 6 houses. The first house, Dhanu, anchors the physical self and constitution. The second, Dana, calculates wealth and family. The third rules courage. The fourth relates to the mother and comforts. The fifth focuses on intellect and progeny. And the sixth, Arya, maps out our enemies, debts, and diseases. It's this incredibly logical progression right from the self outward into the immediate material world. And this structured progression builds logically right through the final 6 houses, shifting the focus towards society, relationships, and ultimately, release. The 7th house maps marriage and partnerships. The 8th is a heavy one, denoting longevity and battles. The 9th and 10th map out fortunes, religion, honor, and the father. The 11th calculates income and prosperity. And finally, we hit the 12th house, Vyaya. What's wild here is that this mathematical sector rules both everyday expenses and the ultimate abstract concept of final emancipation, or spiritual release.
That brings us to Section 3, the mathematical house groups, looking at geometric alignments. Now that we have our 12 translated houses, we have to realize they aren't just some static list. They interact based on complex geometric alignments. The text mathematically categorizes these houses into specific groups, and this is where the structural genius really shines. You have the kendras, or angular houses, 1, 4, 7, and 10. These act as the foundational pillars and are considered highly auspicious. In stark contrast, you've got the trika, the so-called evil houses, the 6th, 8th, and 12th, representing struggle and loss. Then we also have the konas, forming favorable trines, and the upachayas, marking areas of growth.
This scripture lays it out plainly. Kendras, or angles, ascendant, 4th, 7th, and 10th. Evil houses, or trika houses, are the 6th, 8th, and the 12th. This is absolutely crucial, because determining a planet's strength and its effect on a person's life requires knowing exactly which of these geometric alignments it's occupying. A planet in a kendra behaves mathematically very differently than that exact same planet stuck in a trika house.
All right, Section 4, calculating planetary aspects, the mathematics of influence.
Beyond simply sitting in a house, planets and signs exert a calculated influence across the sky. This is known as drishti, or aspects, and it's 100% based on mathematical measurement.
The signs themselves cast these aspects in a highly structured matrix. As the text states, movable signs aspect fixed signs, but they mathematically skip the adjacent one. Fixed signs aspect movable signs, again skipping the neighbor. And common signs aspect other common signs. It's this rigid, rule-based system of geometric sightlines crisscrossing the 360-degree zodiac. And if you need proof that planetary influence isn't just some mystical vibe, take a look at the speculum of aspectual values right from the source material. It proves influence is measured in precise decimal units called virupas. This table calculates exactly how many virupas of influence a planet exerts based entirely on the exact degree and minute of the angle between them. Let's actually run a specific calculation to see this in action. According to the formulas, if the aspect angle between 2 points is exactly 60 degrees, it generates a base value of 15.00 virupas. But the rules give certain planets special mathematical weight. Jupiter, for instance, adds a massive 30 extra virupas of influence when the geometric angle sits between 120 and 150 degrees. Literally every single planetary interaction is quantified down to the decimal.
Let's bring it all together in Section 5, Constructing the Complete Horoscope, from Cosmos to Canvas.
So how on earth does an ancient scholar synthesize all of this astronomy and heavy math into a functional blueprint? Well, building the final horoscope is a super intensive computational process. First, you have to calculate the exact rising degree, the logna. Then, the text makes you divide the 30-degree signs into fractional parts, like the septamamsas, which slices sign into 7 equal chunks. You have to assess the rigid 20-point Vimsopaka strength for every single planet. You cross-reference the lords of the 12 houses across 144 possible combinations. There are even mathematical formulas to deduct years from a predicted lifespan based on the fractional degrees of malefic planets. It's like a giant puzzle.
The whole point of this rigor is captured perfectly right here in the translation. After assessing the 20-point strength of the ascending degree, other houses, and the planets, the good and bad effects be declared. A reading is never just guesswork. It's a formal declaration made only after running these meticulous, multi-layered calculations exactly as the text demands.
Seeing the sheer mathematical rigor of this ancient system really leaves us with a fascinating thought. If scholars from antiquity could map the complexities of the human journey down to exact astronomical degrees and decimals, like Virasupas, what other hidden calculations, what unseen mathematics might be steering the events of our daily lives today? It definitely makes you look at the night sky and the numbers behind it in a completely different light. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.